Hello everyone, you're back with me where I'm picking up from where Miss Sanders left off. If we remember, Lilith just found a few pieces of paper with the title Lysandra and completely untouched by the fire. I'm going to read to you what the pieces of paper said. So, Lysandra. The feast day dawns with a clear blue sky. Kiki has chosen his favourite horses for the chariot race. Lion, a young chestnut, and Myrrh, whose black coat ripples like water. Sensing excitement in the air, they refuse to keep still as I try and plait their tails. Roti, the stable boy, admires my handiwork. I'd bet my finest blanket on those horses winning. Most of the wagers are on the king himself, Roti tells me. In the palace courtyard, under the fig trees, crowds are gathering to place their bets. A medicine woman is offering to pull out bad teeth for free. There are bottles of sandalwood, heeled shoes, puppies, a song to charm snakes. The queen has bet her finest earrings, so loaded with rubies they make the wearer's earlobes stretch. The sun is shining. The air is warm. Our moon is smiling down on us again. It's a day for being happy, I tell myself, yet it does little to calm my nerves. The race is scheduled for mid-afternoon. A crowd lines the route which runs from the palace, through the marketplace down to the river, before looping back past the temple with its newly built ram-headed sphinxes. It's turned into a hot day. Mother and I are wearing white tunics and kohl under our eyes to beat the glare. We take our spot outside the palace gates where the race will start and end. Maya could win, Mother says proudly, but under her breath. The king always wins, I remind her. When the two chariots appear, it's not hard to see why. Maya looks almost too big for his vehicle. All arms and legs, he's struggling to keep his balance. His horses, Bez and Beetle, have grazed too much winter grass on the riverbanks and are plumped next to Kiki's pair. Kiki, in contrast, is regal. He too has kohl painted thickly on his eyelids. He's wearing a gold headdress and a breastplate bright with jewels. His horses, I think smugly, are exquisite. They're snorting and shaking their manes, pawing the dust. In this rare moment where he truly looks like a pharaoh, Kiki's the obvious winner. On the palace steps, Horemheb, the army general, starts the race. Behind him, seated, is I. Kiki glances at his godfather, raises his hand. Wish me luck, that little wave says. I nods and then looks away. It makes me sad for Kiki, whose devotion to his godfather has never quite returned. All eyes are on Horemheb now as he holds aloft a bronze gong. Excitement shimmers through the crowd. As he thumps the instrument, it booms. There's a fraction of a moment when neither Kiki nor Maya moves. Then, the creak of wood, reins snapping against horses' necks and dust everywhere as the chariots surge forwards. A terrific roar goes up from the crowd. Mother grips my arm. I grip hers. We stand locked together. As the dust clears, we see the back of Kiki's chariot speeding down the street. Despite the bumps and holds, he's going steadily. Maya is some way behind. He's shouting at his horses, and Kiki to slow down. The crowd laughs. They're loving it. When the chariots are out of sight, the crowd goes after them. A great wave of people, jostling, necks craning, blood buzzing. Keep up, Mother! I hold my hand out to her. She laughs as she stumbles, then catches hold of me again. In the marketplace, the stalls have been pushed aside. The road is wide, dipping gently down to the river. Up ahead, blocking the route, is a heap of rubble. Not so long ago, it was a statue to the old god, Aten. Now it's a hazard. Kiki throws all his weight to one side. The chariot swerves just in time to avoid it. Maya, lumbering behind, does the same move. His weight is greater. I cry out as his chariot tips. One wheel leaves the ground, then, magically, it's righted again. I think I've squeezed all the blood out of my mother's hand. By the time the chariots reach the river, we've lost sight of them. Mother and I, most of the crowd, walk back to the palace where the race will finish. Every now and then we hear a distant cheer, a groan. It's frustrating not to see what's happening. At first, people are impatient, standing on tiptoe, but as time passes, the crowd settles again. In the middle of the street, doves peck at the dirt. A hungry dog, who's been watching them, lies down and goes to sleep. I start to worry. It can't take this long to gallop around our town. Something must have gone wrong. I go over Kiki's dream again, the darkness, the wild animals, and feel that same coldness in my veins. Mother nudges me. Look! On the palace steps, Horemheb is pointing in the direction of the temple. They return! He bellows. Everyone stand back! Eager to catch first sight of them, we press to the sides of the road. I can hear hoofbeats now. I'm excited again, on tiptoe, straining to see. In the distance, I hear rumbling chariot wheels. There's dust in the air, coming towards us like a sandstorm. Shouts. The smell of sweating horses. The doves fly up in panic. The dog awakes and skulks off into the crowd. The road is empty, then it isn't. It's Maya I see first. He's crouched forward, almost touching Bez and Beetle's rumps. Kiki isn't far behind. Soon he's level with Maya again. By the time they reach us, they're at full gallop. All I see is a blur. A blur of speed, brown horses, brown chariots, brown dust. The finish line is just ahead. Up on the palace steps, Horemheb gets ready to bang his gong. The dust clears enough to see Kiki edge ahead. Maya's horses are tiring. He makes a show of urging them on, but the race is over. The king's going to win. We all laugh with delight. There's cheering and clapping. Then comes an almighty crash. The sound of splintering wood. A stunned silence because people all know this isn't meant to happen. People start screaming. The whole crowd pushes and heaves in different directions. Is someone hurt? Mother cries. I'm almost too terrified to look. There's a chariot on its side in the road. 2 tall horses are struggling to get up. When I realise they're not Bez and Beetle, I sob with relief. But then if it's not Maya, it must be Kiki. No, Lysandra, stay back, Mother pleads. I squirm free of her grasp, reaching the broken chariot just as Maya does. Kiki has been thrown from the vehicle. He lies some distance away, face down in the dust. People are crowding around him now, unsure what to do or whether to move him. No order comes from the palace steps. I hasn't gotten up from his seat. Horemheb is at his shoulder, talking angrily to him. It's Maya who gives the orders. Take him inside, he says to the strongest-looking people in the crowd. Be careful of his head and leg. As Kiki is lifted up, the injuries are clear. His head is at an odd angle. His leg is at an odd angle. There's a gash on his head. But his eyes are opening. He's alive. Sinking to my knees to thank the gods, I see the chariot wheel lying in the dirt. I wonder why no one else has noticed it. Two spokes are broken. The whole thing is buckled beyond repair. I was there this morning when Roti checked everything, then checked it all again. He wouldn't have missed damage like this. He wouldn't put the king's life at risk. No, he wouldn't, I think. My gaze resting on the palace steps, but there are those who would. If the pharaoh dies, I is the next living male heir. This, I think bitterly, means Kiki is worth more to his ambitious godfather dead than alive. The healing ladies spend the next day tending to Kiki. From our house we see pots and baskets carried in, fresh incense, linens, herbs and potions. The more I think about how the right wheel sheared off, the more certain I am it was deliberate. I, keen to place blame, has already found his target. Poor Roti was dragged from the stables last night and beaten with his own horsewhip. Maya brings us news that we're closing the shutters against the midday sun. He confirms my thoughts. Kiki's head wound is deep, to the bone. They bound up his leg in case it's fractured. He's very lucky, he could have been killed. Maya is one of the few allowed at Kiki's bedside. It's not nearly as much fun as hurling pomegranates or hunting ostrich, but he shows equal devotion to it. He's blessed to have such a friend, I say. He's asking for you, Lysandra. Mama stares. I'm suddenly chilled. I'm certain he wants to talk more about his dream. Kiki's bedchamber is in the coolest part of the palace. It catches the breeze from the river, and facing northeast it gets only the earliest rays of sun. Kiki is awake. His eyes are night dark from the medicine he's taken, though I'm not sure if it's helping much. He's fidgety and irritable. "Leave us," he tells the healing ladies who crouch at the edges of the room. Kiki doesn't speak again until he's very sure we're alone, and even then he lowers his voice. I wonder who he thinks might be out there, eavesdropping. It's not hard to guess. "Lysandra, the conversation we had about my dream," Kiki says. "You haven't told anyone, have you?" "Just Maya," I reply, who probably knew about it before I did. "Good. I don't want people to think me weak." "Weak?" I'm startled. So is Maya when I catch his eye. There's no taint in dream reading. It's a tradition as old as the hills. Kiki interrupts. A window into the afterlife, yes. I know what dying means. But everyone assumes I'm dying. "You told me the door in your dream was closed," I remind him. "You're not ready for that journey yet." "Ah, but I came close yesterday, didn't I?" There are parts of his dream that concern me, yes. He is in danger from something, or someone. Perhaps yesterday wasn't an accident after all, I confess. Kiki frowns. The stable boy was slacking his work, so I heard. "It wasn't his fault," I argue. "He checked your chariot before the race and there was nothing wrong. Someone else must have tampered with it." I glance at Maya, hoping he'll agree. But he's pacing the room as alert as a snake. He stops in front of one of the windows, gestures for us to be quiet. I hold my breath as he listens at the shutters, then flings them open in one swift movement. We all hear the patter of feet as whoever was out there listening runs away. Kiki's right, Maya says. No more talk of dreams. We don't talk of the accident again either. By the time the moon's waned, Kiki's hobbling around the palace as if nothing happened. He's cut himself a new walking stick to mark the occasion. Word is he's also trying to show more interest in the running of the kingdom. I wonder what Aya and Horemhead make of this change. One night in the orange glow of Mum's cooking, Maya takes me aside to tell me the new arrangement isn't going well. They don't listen to him, he confesses. All the decisions still come from Aya or Horemhead. When they can't agree, they bribe Kiki for his support. But you're there at these meetings. Can't you speak up for him, I ask. I won't be there anymore. From tomorrow, I've been ordered out into the desert to find a site for Kiki's tomb. This worries me. Is he sick again? Maya shakes his head. He's healing well, but I says we should have started work on it years ago. It takes time and sweat to build a tomb fit for a pharaoh. This is true. Kiki's mother, father, and beloved grandmother all have lavish golden chambers hewn from the desert floor. Their journeys onward to the next life would have been comfortable. Easy. Maya's right to want the same luxuries for Kiki. Yet I can't shake off the fact that Aya's behind this. The wayward chariot wheel, ears pressed to window shutters, the building of the grave. Nothing is what it seems. After a few days of searching, Maya finds the perfect site for the tomb. He comes home at sundown, exhausted but thrilled. "What's it like, the spot you've picked?" I ask. "I'll take you," he says by surprise. Mother insists I wear sandals because of scorpions or snakes. I don't like anything on my feet, but for this it's a small price to pay. Since Kiki's dream, I've been wary of anything with a poisonous bite. Beyond the city wall, the desert stretches in all directions. We go west, heading towards a place where the river waters used to run. Nowadays, it's a dry valley, the sides of which are almost sheer rock. I know the spot well. It's only a short walk from Thebes. It's where the people of power and prestige are taken after death to begin their journey to the world beyond. Maya walks with huge, raking strides. I keep asking him to slow down. We slither down a path, already worn into the hillside by the men working with Maya. "Which way?" I ask when we reach the point where the valley divides. "East," Maya replies. I'm surprised. West-facing graves are more favoured because they catch the setting sun. After a steep climb, the tomb site comes into view. It's a few hundred feet up the cliff face, set back from the edge. Ropes and baskets and other signs of work litter the ground below. Already they've made good progress. I can see steps cut from the rock. The view out over the valley is magnificent. I'm proud of my thoughtful brother. This is a beautiful place to be at rest. My brother is smiling though, shaking his head as though I've not quite understood. It's only the beginning, he says. If my measurements are correct, then the real beauty will come from the sun. Well, that was a lot there. I hope you're enjoying the story so far, and you can join me tomorrow for the next part to find out what happens. I hope you're all having a really, really good day, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye.